Have you ever wanted to travel internationally, but the language barrier makes you a little uncomfortable? Are you scared to travel because they speak German or Cantonese or Mandarin or some other language you don't know? This was me a few years ago, but since then I've traveled to Paris, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Come with me and I'll show you the top phrases you need to learn to prepare for your international trip. I'm Brian from Khaki Shorts. We do all kinds of video on travel, food, and just nonsense. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below to join our community. A few years ago, I had never traveled internationally, so I was planning a trip to Paris. It really scared me that I didn't know any French whatsoever, except for like oui and merci. That was about it. So what I decided to do was to learn just a few phrases that I knew could help me get by. Now, I'm not going to teach you French in this video, but what I am going to do is teach you a few phrases that you can learn in the language of wherever it is you're going to help you get by and feel more like a traveler and less like a tourist. Let me tell you a short story. When I traveled to Paris, Sarah and I got there late one evening and checked into our Airbnb. It was late, we didn't even eat, we got something at the airport. I got up early the next morning as Sarah was still in bed, and I decided that I wanted to go to a local bakery and get some croissants, some stuff for breakfast, a baguette. Like my first morning in Paris, I was all excited. So I walked down the street, find a bakery, Paul Bakery, which I didn't know at the time. I thought, like, this is exotic, this is pretty cool. It's actually like the Starbucks of France when it comes to bakeries. Who knew? So I walk up to the counter, and I'm like, bonjour, parlez-vous anglais? And she looks right at me in the eye with no smile and says, no. Now, if I hadn't learned a few phrases in French, I would have been scared witless. What am I gonna do? I gotta eat, right? But luckily, I had learned a few phrases in French, some of them which I'm gonna teach you today. So I said, je voudrais une baguette, un éclair, deux croissants. When I was done, I said fini, merci, paid for it, and left. No problem. All from just a few small French phrases that I had learned. So it's really easy. You don't have to learn everything. You just have to learn a few things. So let's get to it. Hello and goodbye. Now, that seems pretty simple, but these two phrases can be indispensable when you're in a foreign country. Hello just kind of breaks the ice with someone, and it shows that you're making the effort to try to speak their language a little bit. And goodbye is the same thing when you're leaving a room. Au revoir, adios. Again, you're making the effort, and it goes a long way in someone trying to help you out. And hello will be needed before another phrase that we're going to learn in just a few. Good morning and good evening. Again, seems pretty simple, but a nice good morning kind of breaks the ice with someone, lets you know that you're making an effort to learn their language, and it's like that you're being pleasant. Now, in some places there are kind of strict rules about when you go from good morning to good day to good evening, but other places it's very loose and they don't really care. Now, most places you go, your pronunciation is not going to be spot on, and the people who live there, they understand you're not from around these parts, so they're going to cut you a little slack even if you're off by a little bit. You're making the effort. Now, when I was in Hong Kong, I wasn't as worried because my girlfriend actually speaks Cantonese pretty well. And I learned a few phrases like Josun, which means good morning in Cantonese. We were on the street walking, and there was a gentleman walking by who looked up, caught my eye, and I said, Josun. And he said, Josun. And then he started rattling off in Cantonese. So my girlfriend answered him back. I said, what was that all about? He's like, he asked if you spoke Cantonese. He was surprised. And I told him, no, that you kind of just knew that one or two phrases. And he said, well, sometimes that one phrase is just enough. So he was tickled pink that I made the effort to at least say good morning to him in Cantonese. Please and thank you. People are going to be handing you things, so you're going to be saying thank you. You're going to be asking for things, so you're going to be saying please. It's just common courtesy anywhere you go. You'd do that if you were talking to someone in English and they handed you something. Try to do that in their language as well. It goes a long way. It's just common courtesy. Do you speak English? This one is very helpful, of course. Anywhere you go in a big touristy area, you can almost always find someone who speaks English. Everywhere I've been, of course a lot of places I've been, Bahamas, Canada, they speak English. It doesn't matter. In both France and Hong Kong, I didn't have too much trouble finding people in the touristy areas who spoke English, or could at least speak enough English to get me the information I needed. Now, it's considered rude to just start a conversation with, do you speak English? at least say hello or good morning in their language, so that at least they know that you're making the effort. You're trying to meet them halfway. Now, if they say no, I don't speak English, and you can tell they don't speak English, say thank you and maybe try to find someone else who does speak English. Or you can pull out your map or your travel guide, and maybe you can point to where you're going, point to what you're looking for, and a lot of times just hand gestures or pointing, or they can point to something and kind of show you the way. Or if you're in a restaurant, they can give you a picture menu, or you can get a menu in English. We did that a lot in France. We would just ask for a menu in English. That's a pretty simple phrase to learn as well, but it was indispensable. A lot of times we would walk in, they would see us and be like, they're Americans. We could just tell from the way they're dressed, or we were talking to each other while we were waiting, and they would get you a menu in English. It was actually a British English menu, but it worked. English is English. And if someone doesn't speak English, don't get mad. You're in their country. It's their language. English is sort of an international language, but it's not the language. Not everyone knows English. I don't understand. This is actually really helpful if someone's speaking to you in French, or whatever language, and they're talking really, really fast, and you can't understand them. You can just kind of go, whoa, 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 I don't understand. If you learn that simple phrase in their language, then they know, okay, this guy's just learning the language. And then of course you can go back to the same thing. Maybe you can look at pictures, you can show something in their book or a map, or they can find you an English menu or a picture menu. So I don't understand is another handy one to have. Counting. I always like to learn to count to 10 in the language of wherever I'm going. Spanish, French, Cantonese. I actually learned how to count to 10 in Cantonese using YouTube videos on here. I'm going to put the link below to the one I used for EZ Cantonese, where he taught you how to count from 1 to 10. It's only about 2 minutes long, but you just watch it over and over. Every day watch it, and just keep going until you've gotten to 10. It's pretty simple. Yet, yi, sam, say, lok, chet, pat, gao, sam. 1 to 10 in Cantonese. I learned it just from watching a YouTube video, and you can do the same for any language. Where is the bathroom? ¿Dónde está el baño? Again, indispensable. Everyone has to go to the bathroom, and you're not always at your hotel in your room where you have one of your own private bathroom. Now, depending on where you are, some public places either have no bathrooms, they have bathrooms that are free, or they have bathrooms you have to pay for. But if you don't know where they are, you're wasting valuable traveling time just going around looking for the bathrooms. So asking where is the bathroom is another no-brainer. And if you go somewhere where it costs 20 cents euro to have to use the bathroom, don't get mad. It's just how things are there. If you need to go to the bathroom that bad, trust me, it's worth it. So where do you find this information? Most people, if they're just going somewhere for a week or two, they're not going to spend the money on a Rosetta Stone course, even though that would be nice if you really want to learn a language. So what are some less expensive options? Travel guides. Fodor's Travel Guide is one that I like to use. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I've always found their books written really well, and I like the way they're kind of laid out. Usually in the back they have a section in the local language of wherever you're going with some basic phrases. A lot of the ones we've covered here today, plus foods, services, hotel, what the things are, what they called, so that you see the signs or you hear someone say it, or if you're asking for something, you know how it is, even though most people know hotel, restaurant, etc. in English. YouTube. YouTube is actually the second largest search engine in the world behind. So like I did with counting from 1 to 10 in Cantonese using the EZ Cantonese on YouTube, almost every language has little short clips about phrases and words and counting on YouTube, and it's really easy to look them up and to find them. And you can just save those, like them, put them on your favorites, and then just every day watch those so that you pick it up, because repetition is the way to learn another language for sure. A lot of these videos on YouTube are made by native speakers of that language so that you really hear how things are pronounced there. So are there any phrases that I haven't covered here that you think are essential for travel? Put them in the comments below so that other people will say what they are, and maybe they can add theirs as well. Maybe I'll do another video to add some more phrases you guys, the subscribers and the viewers, have come up with. Well, I hope this video has given you a place to start and made you feel a little more comfortable about international travel. Like I said, I was really worried about it the first time I went overseas, but after your first trip and you see how easy it is just learning a few phrases and finding people who speak English, international travel is a breeze. It's not as bad as you think. And if it's your first time, you just got to go out there and do it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Check out some of our other videos. Au revoir. Adios. Sayonara. Ciao.